The last 2 months were very good indeed for any survival games enthusiasts, as two great games were released: Windrose, a pirate-based building survival game, and Subnautica 2, an underwater sci-fi journey with elements of exploration. Both of these games share a fair amount of similarities. In both you are stranded in a strange world with practically nothing to your name, and you slowly build up your progress, bases, and even ships as you go. In short, there is too much gameplay any IGN game journalist could manage, so let me be your guide through those beautiful worlds. We will start with Subnautica 2, a sequel to a game that became a big hit back in 2018. If you haven't played it, there are some quick summaries of the plot, like this one for example. I want to keep this video spoiler free, so I won't spill anything major regarding the main story. Our journey starts with you waking up in a shipwreck on a strange planet, and you are forced to find your way out, and go from there, uncovering the fates of those who came before you, guided by artificial intelligence called Noah. All I can say about the story is that it is interesting, very complex, and even surprising at some points. The best comparisons I can make are stories from movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Prometheus, or games like Portal or Iron Lung. Storytelling is a very strong point of this game. It lets you explore it at your own pace and is surprisingly deep, especially the part developed in the original game, because the story we see in the sequel isn't yet finished. Furthermore, the way in which this story unravels is done really well. It is immersive in a way that makes you feel you are living through these events, rather than being held by your hand to observe cutscene after cutscene. However, if you are new to Subnautica, you may be wondering, wait a minute, when do I get to shoot some guns? Well, developers explained that similarly to the first game, you won't be able to craft any weapons, as they said in their own words. You are here to exist on this planet, not to dominate it. You are not the conquering colonist here. The truth is, Subnautica 1 was supposed to have weapons in it, but later developers decided against that. Supposedly, Sandy Hook school shooting, which happened in December of 2012, influenced devs' decision. As they explained, they couldn't just sit and add more guns to the world, while simultaneously stating that they don't believe that video games violence create real-world violence. Quite contradictory if you ask me. They even doubled down on that position, instructing disappointed players to go and play Sons of the Forest instead if they wanted a killing game. To be honest, great advice, because it's a banger of a game. Nevertheless, community didn't take that response very well and devs later apologized for it. You see, I am not trying to tell you that real-world politics and gaming should get a divorce. For me, lately politics and gaming resemble a toxic relationship. In reality, they would be much better off as friends with benefits. But don't get me wrong here. History, real-time events, and politics inspired great stories in the past, like Lord of the Rings, where for example Samwise Gamgee was based on a subordinate of Tolkien in the army during World War I, who in Tolkien's mind represented everything a perfect soldier and a patriot would be. Or Dune, where Frank Herbert took inspiration from Africa's water problems when creating Arrakis. There are many such examples, but there is a difference between writing a story with those ideas in mind from the get-go and just inserting them based on recent political movements to appease a certain audience. Nowadays, developers seem to think that they have to take a side on every political matter there is, be it body types instead of genders, gun laws, transgender characters, or racial representation, even when it makes no sense. It is like they were making a political statement or were collecting political correctness points. For me, the case is simple. If the story benefits from these decisions, or the said thing was made with improving players' experience in mind, it is great. But if the developer is trying to lecture the player about some political matter or talk down to them regarding a recent real-world event, not only does it break the immersion, but it is obnoxious and almost always a bad decision. But again, this is my take on this matter. I am very curious about your opinion on this, so please let me know in the comments. Now, let's talk about actual gameplay. Without weapons, the game focuses strongly on your ability to avoid danger, or run away from it, and in this regard it gives you some interesting tools as you progress with technology. Some things could be available a little sooner in my opinion, like the biolab capabilities. You won't have much use from it until much later in the game. It is a minor issue, but I think there is a place for improvement here. The game paces the progression pretty well, giving you small hints on what you should be doing without telling you how to get exactly from point A to point B. It will, for example, give you a hint that building a scanner station could be a good idea, but it won't tell you how to get needed resources. If you are struggling to find another point of interest on your own, Noah will usually help you out, leading you to the next location. It pushes you to explore the world little by little. Survival mechanics come in the form of 4 meters, which you can see at the bottom left corner of your screen. Your health, thirst, satiation, and oxygen. Developers made sure there is more than one way to deal with each of these issues with both items and biomods. As for graphics, I will say that in my mind not much has changed since Unreal Engine 5 came out, but optimization here is pretty decent and the world looks beautiful and vibrant. One of my favorite things about this game is swimming through caves and shipwrecks. For some reason it is a very fun experience. It gets a little bit intimidating, especially when your oxygen is running out. It's a thing you have to try out for yourself to fully understand what I mean.
Key code accepted.
Enemies in the game are pretty harmless, to be honest. I presume it was made this way because you can't really kill them, but in my opinion they could make them a little bit scarier by increasing their DPS. As of now, I've beaten the whole early access content without using a single flare, because it was easier for me to just skedaddle away. In general, without too much glazing, I think this game is terrific. It surely has its flaws. However, it is still in early access, so some things will surely change before full release. It is not a game that everyone will enjoy. I am sure some of you will be disappointed with the lack of futuristic weapons and combat this game could have, but even without them it is worth giving it a try. In this strongly subjective review, I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very relaxing game with complex story, fun mechanics and great exploration. And above all, it is enjoyable to play. This game combines calm, relaxing exploration with moments of tension, and it builds that tension in a very unique way. I just hope the rest of the game will sustain this level of experience. This is it for this video. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and as always, take care. I will see you in the next one.